Hello. Welcome to Franchise Friday. We continue the Jurassic Park franchise, and we're at the Lost World Jurassic Park, the 1997 sequel, directed by Steven Spielberg, of course, my favorite director, and written by the same guy who wrote the first one. They adapted Michael Crichton's book, The Lost World, and inserted Jurassic Park at the end of it because we gotta tell you there's already another movie called The Lost World anyway, but yes. And it stars Jeff Goldblum returning as Ian Malcolm, Dr. Ian Malcolm from the first film, along with Julianne Moore as his girlfriend Sarah. And also features Richard Schiff, Vince Vaughn, who I think is a little miscast, but he's fine. He's not wacky Vince Vaughn. He's serious Vince Vaughn. He's not, hey, ha, Vince Vaughn. He's very serious in this movie. Pete Pavlowait, with small roles from David Attenborough, who was in the first film. The two kids from the first film, and Peter Stormare has a cameo before he's killed by a dinosaur. And Camilla Bell has a cameo at the beginning of this. And I do want to start with the beginning of this, because there's a funny edit, and I don't... So, if you know the beginning of this, sorry with this. We rented this. My grandma rented this on VHS for us back in '98 to watch. And the beginning scene, I'm not kidding, had me going. From the very beginning, I was like, and that's an opening. And what it is this family is on vacation on Isla Sorna, which is the second island, where we find out it's the island where the dinosaurs were bred, and then they were taken to the regular island, Isla Nublar. Why does the L have to be in there? But anyway, so they're taking to that island, and this family's taking a cruise. There's this little girl played by Camilla Bell, and she finds these little tiny dinosaurs, which I always thought were baby raptors, but I guess they're some kind of other species. And she starts to feed them her sandwich. And they attack her. Now, the parents hear her scream, and the parents run, and you get this lady going, into the screen, and it cuts to Jeff Goldblum in a subway going, like, was she yelling at Jeff Goldblum? It looked like she was screaming at Jeff Goldblum, but to be honest, I probably would scream too if I saw Jeff Goldblum. But it's weird because he's standing in front of a fake background of an island, so it is kind of funny if you think about it. But yes, so Jeff Goldblum is brought in by John Hammond to go to the second island and preserve the animals or do something. He says no, but then he finds out his girlfriend Sarah is there, and so he goes with this other crew, Richard Schiff, who I don't know his name, but thanks to Nostalgia Critic, I call him the Pudgy Doughy guy. And Vince Vaughn, whose name is Nick, I think. And his daughter, who... Now, this never made sense to me, and I'm not trying to be racist in any way, because I don't hate that they did this, I'm just confused that they did it. So, his daughter, Kelly, is there. She's black. She's African American, black, whatever. Won't get me, pitchforked. Why? How? In the first film, he tells Ellie, now he might just be trying to get into her panties, but he tells her he has 7 kids and that he loves kids. This is his only daughter. She's black. And not like, oh, she could be mixed, light skin toned black. Like, deep, dark. Like, not dark, but she's There's no question that she's full black. How does that happen if you have one parent that is white, one parent that is black? Now she could be adopted, but we are led to believe that she's actually he's actually her birth father. But were they trying to be progressive, or did they just not care? I'm going with not care, but you think someone like Steven Spielberg would cast it? Not better, but it just doesn't make any sense. And we never meet the mom, so we don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. And like I said, I don't hate it. I'm fine with it. I've just always been confused by it. It's fine. It's just confusing. You know? Not mad at all. I don't mind the character, but they give her one characteristic. Oh, I was in gymnastics and I quit. Also, that we can have the payoff later when she does the gymnastics flip on the raptor later. Now, the effects in this are still pretty good. This is 1997, and there's a lot of effects in 1997 that weren't the best. I mean, Mortal Kombat Annihilation came out same year, and yeah. One of the things, though, is that this movie is long. This movie is... Where is the runtime? 2 hours and 9 minutes. First movie was like an hour and a half, maybe. This is long. I think it's the longest of all the movies, to be honest. And it takes a while. There's so much. There's... Dr. Malcolm has to go see John Hammond. John Hammond sends him to Isla Sorna where he has to meet up with Sarah. They meet up. They do their, the prerequisite gawking at the dinosaurs thing. Oh no, Hammond's nephew has sent people there to trap and cage at the dinosaurs. But Nick says, "Oh, you have me," or something like that. And then, but Pete Postlethwaite wants to hunt a male Tyrannosaurus Rex, even though males shouldn't exist. Yes, I know it was established in the previous film that they were able to change sex only for procreation, though. I assume they are still technically female unless the dinosaur grew a penis. I assumed it was just to... I assumed they always meant to asexually produce eggs. I always assumed that's what it was, because I find it weird that, they can actually change sex. So like one day the female dinosaur's walking around and all of a sudden, whoop! How did that get there? I find that a little too weird. I always assumed that it helped them reproduce asexually. That's what I always assumed. So when he says, I'm going to hunt down a male Tyrannosaurus, I'm thinking, technically there would be one, but there is. And to me, that doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make any sense that they would actually change sex and a penis would appear out of nowhere. Can you imagine if that happened to a human? A woman's laying there, all of a sudden... Now, where did that come from? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just saying. And I've watched these movies with my son. I remember when we were watching the first one, and he kind of looked at me because he was confused, and I'm like, I would explain it, but even I don't know what they're talking about. And to try to explain it to a 9-year-old, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So that always confused me. Like, well, how is he hunting a male Tyrannosaurus? I always assumed that they were still technically female, but I don't know. But then you go from that, and the T-Rex has been taken from the island to Los Angeles, because they're going to open their own theme park in a crowded city Look, it didn't work when you were on a deserted island. And you want to try to do this in a crowded fucking city. How the hell? Also, I would like to know something they've never answered in these movies, okay? This one and the third one both take place on Isla Sorna. There are pterodactyls there. Why don't they ever fly off the island? Now, at the end of the third one, they do. But we see pterodactyls landing on a broken tree or wood or whatever. If they're flying dinosaurs, why haven't they flown off the island before the third one? It never makes any sense. And what happened to those at the end of the third one? It's confusing. Anyway, so the T-Rex rampaging down the streets. Oh, let me tell you, that got me when I was a kid. 97, when I'm 10 years old. See, my bedroom in the house we lived in 1997, 98, I should say. Wait. I didn't live in a house. I lived in an apartment. Oh. That makes much more sense. I had one window on this side. Yeah, that makes more sense now. Because I had a window on that side, but this was the only... Yeah, in the room that I had at the time, it was before my brother was born, I think. We watched this. I had one window just on the side of the room there, and yeah, I remember now. I was trying to remember why I was so freaked out about it at the house, because I had like two more windows on this side. Like there was two windows here, so the door was over here, and I had my dresser here. Bed was bed was right here actually, and I had two windows right here and a window there. This was in the house, and that's what I was trying to figure out. Why was I so scared of that? But in the apartment, the only window I had was over here. So yeah, that makes more sense why. And it creeped me out, man. It did. Thinking dinosaur was gonna pop in, eyeball. He eats a dog. I kid you not. I always forget how this movie ends. I just watched it. I still don't really remember. They take the dinosaur back to the island, and then there's something about John Hammond about protecting the ecosystem and whatnot. Okay. But there's some exciting action scenes, like the whole trailer gonna fall over the side and Pudgy Doy guy has to try to save them, but then he gets eaten, and then the whole thing falls through. That's kind of cool. They're rescued by InGen, and then Sarah stupidly hangs up her vest, which has the blood of a baby Tyrannosaurus on it, to hang and dry, thinking, it's not gonna cause any problems. What is wrong with you? Get rid of it. I would take that fucker off and get rid of it, change my clothes, find a way to change clothes, and get rid of those. Throw them somewhere that's gonna be away from you. Throw them in the river so they'll float downstream. Do something. But no, she hangs them up to dry, thinking that's gonna work. The villains... Look, I always said that you don't need human villains in a Jurassic Park film. The third film doesn't have human villains. Not really, I don't think. This one does. The first one, Dennis Nedry wasn't a villain, he was an idiot. And he was the one responsible for the power outage, but he wasn't technically a villain. This one, they outright gave us villains. I don't see the point. Dinosaurs are bad enough villains. It's like when I reviewed the Transformers movies. The Decepticons are bad enough. You don't need human antagonists. But, Spielberg produced those too, But, we're going to do what we're going to do, right? But I digress. This movie... I never thought it was terrible. It's not as good as the first film. I think most people's criticism is that they brought in Jeff Goldblum and they bring back the other two. Well, that he's in the book. The book follows, Ian Malcolm, so they kind of had to do this. Then they bring the other two back in the third one, which is really just Sam Neill, and then that one's got. I haven't actually watched the third one in a while, so we'll see. I never thought that one was terrible either, but I know it's not good. But anyway, for the Lost World Jurassic Park, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's that bad. There's some enjoyable moments in it. There's some questionable things that happen in it, but overall, it's not a terrible movie. But, yeah, 7 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on the Lost World Jurassic Park? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.